So we're looking now at just a little bit about marking. It'll be the first of two parts. As far as your marking goes, there's three significant things. Number one, there's the success criteria. This comes from your objectives and so on. So you have criteria for a pass or a fail or a grade. Now, given that, you then set your assignment and you're gathering evidence. There's a word mainly that comes from NZQA in the achievement standard kind of area, but it's also there if we're doing G29A scales and that kind of thing. So we're looking for evidence. And then having got our evidence, you are then making judgments. And it does not matter how good your assessment schedules are, your marking schedules, your rubrics, your model answers, that there will be a need sometimes to make professional judgments. When I was marking, often these would be annotated on the script or whatever you're marking with PJ, professional judgment. You're making a judgment about that particular case. And just by the way, it's worth recording as you go the various decisions and professional judgments you make. So your marking schedule and your rubric will become slightly a living document. I'm going to work through this for 2 or 3 minutes with an example. It's an example I've made up. So for a hypothetical history class, I'm going to have an assignment, the significance of world economy events. So that's probably during the Depression in causing World War II. Okay, so that's our assessment topic, and the type of assessment is essay. So working through this, something like this. Now, you need to convey the essence of the assessment to your students. So you need some kind of task description. So I've got this: write a 700-word essay on the topic economic factors and their effects in causing World War II. So I'm going to assume that there's been some delivery of content around that and that you've processed it in class and so on. And so I'd call that's the first part of the task description. So the next statement I've got is some further detail. It's a bit more about the task definition. So number one, describe at least 3 economic causes. So there's our vital number. You want 3 in your students' responses. 3 economic causes of World War II. Indicate your opinion of the most significant, and again that is defining the task a bit more, and then finally with reasons. So that's kind of like a bit of a general overview. And you'll find this style regularly in our assessments. Finally, I've got something that I've called, very imaginatively, I've just called it further notes. So there's a bit more definition. So express your ideas with clarity and brevity. Now that may be that may even relate to the graduate attributes and such sort of more subtle objectives in your course. Secondly, include some quotes as part of your evidence with full references. You may specify APA or you may not. You just may state that it's enough that it becomes unambiguous. And I put a little comment there: quotes do not count towards the word limit. So you are converging on more clarity about the task. And finally, ensure in your work you are clear about cause and effect. So there we have it, a rough and ready task description for an assignment. That's what you start with before you go on to building your rubric. So this is not our main consideration of this topic. It's just a quick overview. So all these aspects are in the Moodle site or anything that's taken over from that. Your rubric. You may of course have a marking schedule, but I'm going to look at a rubric in this case. So we're looking at design and construction. there are about 4 things that are absolutely essential that you need to know. Now, first thing, down here, we have criteria. Okay, now, remember we talked about key things that you start off with criteria, and you have your evidence and you're making judgments. The criteria need to come from your assessment statement, and they are written down here with some clarity. You may have one part that says 700 words, or that may appear here, but basically you list your criteria down there. Advice number 1, do not use learning outcomes down there, it does not work. Advice number 2, don't have too many. Next up, we have across the top our levels of achievement. Now, you've got to figure out how many you have, what type they are, keep a number down. And then your main job is to fill in these. That is a completely different topic. We'll look at that another time. So, that's it for now. Good luck.